Greetings, I'm Pillar Next to Ancient Gladiator with more Pillar-less tabletop games. Today I'm playing a Game of Thrones. This is the second edition. I've played the first one, and I'm going to say it right now, I have no familiarity with the books. I just love this game. You will play as one of 6 or 8 with the expansion houses. We've got Stark. I got no time, I'll just read it. Stark, Lannister, Baratheon, Greyjoy, Tyrell, Martell, Aaron, and Tyrion. And at the start of the game, you'll have some starting forces. And you're going to be trying to use these horses to take over castles and strongholds in order to achieve victory. Let's see, see, and whatever. So you get a little bit of forces to start with. Over the course of the game, you'll have opportunities to get more people. There's your home, and let's start at the 2. You'll have an opportunity to use your power to bid on influence and wildlings. Keep them at bay. You'll have to keep an eye on your supply. Normal, you can have any number of areas with just one person, but you are limited to areas with more than one person based on your supply. Your garrison to protect your homeland better. The big thing in this game is the order tokens. So I'm not sure where this is going to be coming out chronologically, but I've covered diplomacy with its simultaneous order system. This has a system that doesn't really need as much in the way of paperwork. Throne, fiefdoms, King's Court. We'll go over the influence tracks in a minute. But the core of this game is using your orders, secretly placing them where you have your stuff to do things. You have some orders that have stars on them. Your ability to use star orders are based on your King's Court level. And then the orders themselves. The torch is the raid. There will be a phase after the orders are revealed, but before anything else is resolved, to use raid tokens. You remove it, and an adjacent raid, support, or consolidate power order gets eliminated to mess with your opponent's plans. Then there's where to go? Then there's the axe, which represents March, where you'll actually send in your people to fight. Fighting is its own thing that I'll go over here in a minute. But the march order will have a number to add to your final result. This one's a +0. The special one's a +1. You also have a -1. for desperate measures. There's Consolidate Power, which is the crown, which lets you get 1 power token, plus 1 for every crown in the area. So Consolidate Power in Winterfell is going to get you 2 power. And then Defense Orders for when you don't want to move. Wherever you're holding is at +1 when someone else attacks you there. And then finally there's Support Order. You may add the strength of these units to combats in adjacent areas. So that's... yeah, so there's that. So yeah, players will resolve their orders to move around or hold their ground or whatever. So actually fighting, there will be calling for support, where if you have third parties that can that have support orders that are neither the attacking nor the defending faction, you can have them, you can ask for their assistance. Am I missing one? No, I just did sort of that way. And then calculate initial combat strength. I believe, do they have it here? They do not have it here. I'm gonna have to. I believe footmen are 1. Knights are 2. Ships are 1. And siege engines, which are kind of expensive and only good for attacking strongholds and castles, are at 4. But only if that's what they're attacking. Otherwise, it has 0 combat strength. So build them wisely. So these 2 go into an area that has an enemy, and there's going to be there. So I'll have an initial strength of 3. Depending on which of my march orders I played, like if I used my special march order, there's a +1. So there's a 4 initial strength right there. Choose and reveal house cards. So, at the start of the game, you will have your hand of house cards, which will include characters from that house. So it's Robb Stark and others. There's Stark, Bolton. Yeah. And they'll have their strength as their strength bonus as a number the upper corner. I'm trying to keep the glare off so you can kind of see it. And I'm still messing up on the angle. But your usual hand of 7 cards at the start of the game consists of a 4, a 3, a 2, another 2, a 1, another 1, and a 0. Everyone seems to have identical numbers, but then each card has its own special ability. So, yep. So once you've chosen your card and your opponent's chosen their card, they'll put it face up. You'll add the you'll add the strength to your strength, and if there's any text, they'll apply. Some cards have sword icons, so during the combat resolution step, The player who won the combat gets to use their swords against the loser of the combat. If the loser of the combat has fortification icons, then they'll prevent that many of the swords from going off. When you use a combat card, it goes away until you have used every single one of your combat cards. Then you can get them back. And also, the player highest on the fiefdom tracks will have the Learned Steel Blade. If they're in this combat, they have a chance to use it for a final +1. The player with the highest result is going to win. If there's a tie, it's whoever's higher on the fiefdom's track, which is going to be the one who's also holding the highest on the fiefdom's track is also going to be holding the blade as well. There are some event cards that might trigger off of having the blade, the throne, or the messenger even. We'll go over those in a minute. And casualties. So the defeated player has to lose 1 unit for each sword icon from their opponent, minus the number of forts on their own card. Yeah. And, like, that's the only way casualties will happen. And the casualties have to be out of the units that are there. Support is immune. After suffering casualties, the losers have to retreat. If it was the attacker that lost, they go back to where they came from. If the defender lost, then they have to go to an adjacent friendly or just an empty area, and they have to go together. They can't exceed their supply limits when they do so. Otherwise, things get... If there's no legal place for them to run to, they're destroyed. I mean, if you've got, your guys surrounding this place, and they attack people here, and they win the combat, and they've got nowhere to run. They're done. And that's pretty much combat. So what else? So yeah, the actual round sequence is advancing the turn. There'll be 10 rounds in the game. If it actually goes that long, that's quite the interesting game. I've had games end a hell of a lot sooner. Anyway, draw the Westeros cards. So there'll be various events at various stages. Like in stage 1, we've got mustering to get more units. Getting more units. Strongholds get you 2 points worth of units. Castle gets you 1 point of a unit. 1 point gets you a footman or a ship, or upgrades a footman to a knight. 2 gets you a knight just straight up, or a siege engine. Yeah. Supply, where you'll actually reconcile to the supply. And then your armies are going to have to pay the price for it if you lost supply with big armies. Throne of Blades, so the holder of the Iron Throne can either make everyone update their supply, let everyone muster units, or just say no effect. And there's stage 2 units, which do some more stuff, and stage 3 cards as well. So there'll be one card from each of these. Some of them will have a wildland symbol, which will increase their strength. If the wildlands hit 12, they'll automatically attack. Otherwise, the events will just go off. It's possible for a stage 3 card to make them attack anyway. So when wildlands attack, everyone secretly takes the amount of power that they want to bid on the Night Watch and help them defeat the wildlands. Everyone will reveal, and then the total has to equal or exceed, I believe. That's been a little while. Wildlands. Where'd you go? Wildlands attack. Wildlands attack. Wildlands attack. Not 22. For fuck's sake. I was in the back of my book. Yeah, equals or exceeds. And then depending on that determines what this card will do. So like the lowest bidder, if it wasn't enough, then the lowest bidder is going to be punished a little bit extra, but everyone's going to be punished for it. If the wildlands were defeated, then the highest bidder gets a special bonus. I believe the person with the messenger raven can check out whether what that card's going to be ahead of time during a certain point. Yeah. So yeah, advanced marker, draw cards, advanced wildlands, then resolve the Westeros cards. And then the planning phase to actually place your orders. And the orders get resolved. First with the raids, then the march, then the consolidate power. So if you can hit somebody who's about to consolidate power and defeat them, they're screwed out of that order. So that's part of the strategy in this game. The player with the messenger raven can either replace one of their order tokens after the orders are revealed, or check out the wildland card. And then the raven gets flipped. So that leaves one major thing remaining, and that's bidding. Well, there's also ship transport, but it's kind of complicated. And yeah, land areas are considered adjacent when there's this chain of ships between them. A routed ship may be used for transport. Oh, there's another way to permanently kill units. So when an army retreats, they're routed. If somebody attacks them again, they're going to die. So there's another strategy to keep in mind with your taxing your units. So actually bidding on the influence tracks. So the card that will set it off is Clash of Kings. And all the influence tokens will be removed. And then players will bid power like they're we're bidding for the wildlands. I believe everyone will know exactly how much power everyone else has first. Yeah, because everyone will know what their power, what their power is, and that of their opponents. then you'll hide it behind your screen as part of your plan. Player with the highest bid will take the first position. The outcome of all ties is decided by the player holding the Iron Throne. The Iron Throne doesn't move until this is decided. So whoever had the throne last, if they're currently in a tie, they can choose to keep the throne for themselves. Yeah, the Iron Throne is a critical tiebreaker element. And then whatever you bid is going to be lost. Yeah. You want to try to hold on to some of your power, because when you leave an area, you're going to have to leave a power token behind, or you're not going to have control of it. So yeah, the Iron Throne track, which will get you the throne and the token and the power to break those ties. The Fiefdoms track, the highest will get the Valyrian Steel Blade, and breaks ties in combat, the higher they are. And then the King's Court track, the highest position gets the Messenger Raven and the ability to do more of their special orders. And yeah, once that's done, whatever remaining power you have left will go out in front of you, in front of your screen. But yeah. Anything else? I believe there's like neutral force tokens for games with fewer players, and there's always one that goes on King's Landing. If you have the Mother of Dragons expansion, they replaced that system completely with vassals. So you can, the vassal system, you can use one of the other factions as your vassal to help control the board and all that. The only faction that can never be used as a vassal is Targaryen. You have to actually play them as players. But that's the whole other system. And fewer players limit the actual factions in the original game. But yeah, so yeah, factions, goal of the game, combat, orders, influence, wildlands, or events. And yeah, once all the orders are taken care of, it goes on to the next turn. Eventually somebody will hit 7, or the game will hit 10 rounds. I've played this a couple times with 3 players, and we managed to end it right around the middle each time. I think this is one of the more interesting games to play with 3 players. But yeah, Game of Thrones, it's crazy. Oh yeah, I wanted to. Speaking of the Mother of Dragons expansion, it extends out from like the far coast over here, so that the lands of Targaryen are in play. It also adds where we go. So with House Aaron, it'll add this new overlay for the Eyrie, because that's their home, and the Valar. It also has the Bite, so that this port is to its own sea area instead of this big one, which I think it corrects certain balance issues with that port being there. Yeah, yeah, that'll make a considerable difference. Oh yeah, ports have their own crazy shit too, as well. And then there's also some card-based extensions. Um, Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragons. Dance with Dragons as alternative sets for your faction cards in a new scenario. Feast for Crows provides some alternate alternate characters for House Aaron, but it also lets you play as House Aaron even with the unexpanded game. You'll just end up using Tyrell's stuff over here. And their objectives, and that's that crazy scenario. Why the hell do I love this game when I'm not familiar with the books? I don't know, it's just the whole crazy strategy of planning and diplomacy and all this other, all that stuff. How to deal with the events. They're kind of hard to see from back here. It's diplomacy minus all the paperwork, which I kind of appreciate. Um, you know, and it's just so much flavor to this world and its people and everything going on. I feel engaged when I play this game. I enjoy the hell out of it. I want to play it more, but it's also a long ass game at times. Although the one time I played with 3 players, we managed to play it twice in one evening. It was a fun time. But yeah, it should still be available. I mean, the second edition's pretty recent. Hopefully, if you already read the stories, I'm sure you'll probably get more enjoyment out of this game. But even me not being familiar, it's like I still enjoy it. It's a great game. Get it, play it, love it. This has been Pillar Nexus. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.